Tēnā tātou, rangatira, maku e tūwhira tēnei hui, me karakia tātou. E rongo e rangi, tēnei tō pia, tēnei tō tauira. Mere tū ahi e tō, ka rehe ki te roa, ka takato tahau tātou o te pō. Ko te pō nui, ko te pō roa, ko te pō te u, ko te pō te tūtuki. Manua mai ai tau o te moi pai, te moi roa, te moi te huri, te moi te rā waki ngai. Manua mai ai tā ārai tanga o ngā mate. Namu te araro, tapu te hiko te whare. Ka pō, ka ao, ka ao. Ko te ao u, ko te ao e. Ko te ao tūtuki, ko te ao ti, ko te ao tia. Whanno, haramai te toki hokerangi e, haumi e, hui e. Tēnā tātou. Ka rangatira, kua i ka pahi mai nei. Tēnei te mihi ki a koutou. Nau mai, whakatau mai, kei raro i te maru o tēnei whare. Tēnei whare o te kaunihero o whakatāne, o koutou whare hoki. No mātou te kaunihira, te whiwhi, te honore, i tū ai koutou i ngā māngai, ngā kanohi kitia, i roto i o koutou hapuri. Ka moe o mātou, he ua, tō koutou mahi, i roto i o hapuri. Engari, hei konei tonu koutou, mahi ana, hei hāpai, hei tiaki, i o koutou hapuri, o koutou hapu, iwi, whānau. Nō reira, mai te kaunihira o whakatāne ki a koutou, nau mai, whakatau mai, tēnei te mihi kia rongi te ngākau rangi Māori e. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Nā mihi. Oi. Tēnā koutou katoa. Anau mai haere mai ki tēnei rangi whakahirahira. Nau mai ki he hui tuatahi o tēnei hau. Ko Stephen Peria toku angiwa, ko au te tuihautu o te kaunihira. Welcome everybody. Welcome to this special day, the inaugural meeting of the Whakatane District Community Boards. I am Stephen Peria, the Chief Executive of the Council. But before we start the meeting, I'll just go through how the meeting's going to run today. Now is actually a good time to make sure that your phones are on silent. We don't want them ringing during the meeting, but leave your phones on because there's going to be some great photo opportunities. I'll be chairing the inaugural meeting today. When we move into the reports, I'll call up, or actually me and Nandor will step in and call up the community board members and go through the process of swearing each one of them in. That is a great opportunity to take a photo just after they've sworn in, so just remember that with your phones on mute, taking photos. The board member is invited to say a few words, but just be conscious, we have got quite a few to get through, so we don't want very, very long speeches, but you are invited to say a few words if you wish. We will also swear in the appointed councillors to each of the community boards as we're going through that process. Once everyone is sworn in, then we will need each community board to move into a room to elect their chairs. A staff member has been assigned to each of the community boards to support this process, and the rooms are just here. You don't have to go very far, but it enables each of the community boards to go through that process of electing chairs and deputies. This meeting will be paused until the chairs are elected, and then this meeting will reconvene to announce each chair and each deputy once that process is completed. Once the community boards are officially established with their chairs and deputies, then we'll have a closing karakia, bless our food, we'll have a cup of tea and a chit chat, and of course that's when we can have formal photos. And we'll probably arrange just to move some of the tables, so if people want to have photographs done in here by the lovely Sam, you can use the artwork as a backdrop. It's fabulous. Right, so I now open the meeting of the inaugural community boards. I'd like to welcome all of the elected community board members, our esteemed guests, councillors, staff and members of the public. Note that the Taniatua Community Board and its members will not be participating in the combined community board meeting today, as there is a lack of quorum and there is a current by-election in that area. An inaugural meeting for that board will be held at a later date in the new year, but we do welcome the members who have come from that community board here today. Now moving to meeting notices. 3, live streaming. First of all, our live streaming is not working today, but we will be recording the meeting and uploading it to our YouTube channel at the close of the meeting today. So to those who are in the public gallery, your presence implies that you consent to being recorded and broadcast at a later date on our YouTube channel. Further information about live streaming and our YouTube protocols can be found on the Council's website. Bathroom facilities are located opposite the chamber foyer, just in the entranceway where you came in, and in case of an emergency, please follow the building wardens to the nearest exit here, and we also have one hidden in there behind the chairs. The meeting point, should there be an emergency and you're outside, is at Peace Park, which is just across the road here. But just follow the building wardens. Online viewers, please be advised that although this is a delayed broadcast, there will be a brief intermission during item 5.5 of the agenda, and that's where we're electing the chairs. And that intermission is to enable each board to convene separately for the purpose of appointing their respective chairpersons and deputies. The combined board meeting and live stream will resume once the boards have been regathered, following the appointment of the chairpersons, at which point the resolutions from that item will be restated. I now move on to apologies. I only have one apology today, and that is Victor Xavier from Taniatua. Are there any other apologies to be noted? In the agenda, it has section 4, conflicts of interest. I'm just going to move that agenda item down into after all of the community board members are sworn in. So we'll move item 4 down to 5.3. Moving into section 5, the reports. The first report is the final declaration of election results 2025. I have some staff here who are able to talk to the report. Are there any questions for clarification about that report? No, if that's the case, then I will note that we are receiving the final declaration of the election results 2025. Item 2, we now move on to the swearing in of community board members. For this part of the meeting, Mayor Nundle will call each community board member by their ward, one by one, alphabetically by surname, to make their declaration in the presence of all of us and to be witnessed by the Mayor. Also, the Mayor will call appointed councillors to swear them in also. So I'll now call forward Mayor Tantros to work us through this process.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Tēnā te mihi kia koutou kua tae mai, ki te tautoko, i tēnei kaupapa whakahirahira, tēnei kaupapa nui i te atanei. Nau mai hara mai. So first of all, welcome to you all. It's a great pleasure and a great honour to be here for the swearing in of all our community board members. I want to acknowledge Hone Patrick for saying our opening karakia and opening mihi tēnā koe, and to our Chief Executive for chairing this meeting. I want to acknowledge a previous mayor here, Tony Bond. It's lovely to see you here, Tony. I won't make a big speech, but I just did want to say it is a real pleasure and an honour to be here. Community board members play a hugely important role in our community because you are the deep connection that our council has with your communities. And so I want to acknowledge you all, congratulate you all for being elected, and also welcome you here, and also all your whānau who are here to support you as well. So nā reira, Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou. I'm going to call up members of the different community boards to take an oath or affirmation. And I'm going to start with the Murupara Community Board, and I'm going to invite Mere Honeycomb to come up and take an oath.
Te puari hapori o Murupara whakapuakana a pautaki. Ko ahau, ko Miri Honeycomb. Tēnei e whakapuaki nei e nā kaupono nei e tā keke nei hoki. O tira e ai ki aku mōio tāna katoa, me o kumana whakawātana katoa, e mahia ai e au nā mahi katoa hei paina taumata mā te hapori o Murupara. I raro i nā mana, i nā ihi me nā wehi, kua whakareia mai nei ki au, kua pau taki au ki te puari hapori o Murupara. I raro hoki nā ture kāwanatana a takiwā o te tau 2022. Te ture kāwanatana a takiwā mo nā pārono o kawa me nā huihuina o te tau o 1987 i raro rānei i etahi ture ke atu.
I'll now invite Karitor Paul to make an affirmation. Thanks for the confusion. I'm going to invite Weku Kiriopa to make a declaration.
I, Weku, declare that I will faithfully, impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of Murupara community powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Murupara Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
I'd like to now invite Irma Prentice to take it.
I am apprentice, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Murupara community the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Murupara Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
I'd like to invite now Alison Silcock to take it.
I, Alison Silcock, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Murupara community the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Murupara Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002 and the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987. Oh, I see that you've got this. Go on, get down to speech.
Yep.
Number 5, Community Board Declaration. I should know it by heart. And I'm looking forward to being on the Community Board again, actually working for the community, not just turning up to meetings, but working within our communities.
Right.
And I'd like to call up Jessie Morgan-Ranui as the council.
Good perfect. It's a mouthful. Anyway, I'm Jesse Morgan Ranui, appointed councillor and community board member of Minipara. Declare that I will. I suppose I've got the only blurry one. And a guy in specs, they're all the same. Declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the board, Minipara Community Board, the powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Minipara Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information Act, Meeting Act, and 1987, or any other act. We've got there.
I now move to the Rangitaiki Community Board and invite Stephanie Bonner to take an affirmation.
Hi everyone. I, Stephanie Bonner, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Rangitaiki community the powers, authorities and duties invested in or imposed upon as me, a member of the Rangitaiki Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act. Yeah, just very quickly, I just want to thank Gavin Dennis for encouraging me to become a part of this, which I feel is a very important role. I'm really excited to get into the community and be a voice for the community. I also really want to thank my husband, who 100% supports me and gives me the strength to carry on and go through and do what I really want to do. So thanks. Thanks, God.
I'd like to now invite Hemi Brown to take an oath. Another time. In which case, I'll invite Bill Clark to make an affirmation.
Yeah.
I will declare I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Rangatahi community, the powers and authorities vested and imposed upon me as a member of the Rangatahi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information Act, Meeting Act 90, and any other act. I like that, any other act. What that's like, what that's going to be now. Hey, thanks everybody. Delighted in my full circle of in the political spectrum to become able to be a one-eyed parochial Rangatahi supporter, and particularly for on behalf of the community of Onipu. Kia ora. Cheers, mate.
And now I'd like to invite Bruce Evans to make an affirmation.
I, Bruce Evans, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill, judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of the Rangatahi community, powers, authorities, duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rangatahi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. Oh, I'm too nervous to say anything. I'm just going to give it my all, that's all.
And I'd like to now invite Storm Hale to make an affirmation.
This is help. I'm Storm Hale, declare that I will faithfully, impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Rangatahi community, the powers, the authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rangatahi Community Board by virtue of Local Government Act 2002, Local Government Official Information and Meeting Act 1987, or any other act. Kia ora. I just want to say thank you to my community that voted me in, because I've never done this stuff. I'm a netball girl and I don't have anything to do with the community, but I just felt our little townships are not really getting looked after, and that's my priority. It's like City Hall, and I said that at my meeting at Matata, and that's where I really want to put my effort into the council to go gateway to Eastern Bay. But if I was driving if I was an American citizen driving through to Te I would turn around and go back around, because honestly, it's not inviting for our visitors that are in our community and our overseas people as well. So I'm glad I put my name up. I'm not glad to do this.
I now invite Stu McCarty to take an oath.
I, Stu McCarty, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Rangataiki community the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rangataiki Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, and or any other act. Just excited to have a go, really. Yeah, step up, not have stones thrown at us, and yeah, just be a part of the community, and that's what I want to achieve.
And I will just invite Councillor Gavin Dennis to make.
I, Gavin Dennis, declare that I faithfully, impartially, according to the best of my skill, judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of the Rangataiki Community Board the powers, authorities and duties invested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Rangataiki Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. I just want to say it's a privilege to be able to be back again on the community board. I originally served 12 years as a community board member, and then for the last 6 I've been the council representative to it. And a little board for a little town in the middle of the plains that achieves a heck of a lot. And I look forward to the new group that are in there doing the same, and we just look to see what we can do. Thank you.
And I now move to the Whakatane Ohope Community Board. And I invite Linda Bond to make that.
Kia ora tātou. I, Linda Bond, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according with the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Whakatane Ohope communities the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Whakatane Ohope Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. Nani. It is a privilege and I feel very proud to be able to represent your community for another 3 years. I am looking forward to working with the previous members that we have on our board and the new members. And it is a really strong team that we have for this next triennium. And I know that we will achieve a huge amount. So thank you to the community for believing in us. And I look forward to getting on with the business of getting things done.
And I now invite Sasha Sesman to make an affirmation.
Kia ora. I, Sasha Sesford, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Whakatane o Hopi communities the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Whakatane o Hopi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. I'd just like to say that I didn't expect to be in this position at all, but boy, am I glad I am. And hopefully there won't be stones. I'm pretty lucky that in Scotland it would actually be bricks. We all just want to work with our community and bring out the best for each and every individual component. So let's work together and make this town really hum.
Now invite Christopher Howard to take in.
Everyone. I, Christopher Howard, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Whakatane and Hopi communities, powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Whakatane o Hopi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information Meetings Act 1987, the other act. Look, yeah, just like to acknowledge the incredible support that I and the rest of the board received, and it's my third rodeo, I guess you'd say that, and I love the community. I said it in my opening and elections, and look forward to carrying on with the new members and the previous members, making what is a great place in the country even better. And yeah, like my wife who's let me stand again. That dinner cooked for me after those late meetings, but yeah, great. Oh.
Now invite Douglas McLean to make an affirmation.
I, Douglas McLean, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Whakatane Hopi communities the powers, the authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Whakatane Hopi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, and any other act. I'd just like to, 6 years ago I was presented with Korowai by the Māori community. This is the first time since that I've worn it. So I therefore, acknowledge our Māori community. And I'd also like to acknowledge my supporters, Glenn, Kathy and my wife, Pam. Thanks for being here. And I think we're going to have a great 3 years.
It was a bit quick. Keep it on. Just wrap around me.
I invite Rosemary Floman to make it.
I, Rosemary Sloman, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Whakatane and Hopi communities. The powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Whakatane or Hopi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. I'd like to thank those who supported me to get this far, and I really look forward to serving my community further. Thank you.
And I now invite Sue Whale to make it.
Inaugural. I, Sue Whale, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Whakatane o Hopi communities the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Whakatane o Hopi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. I'd just like to say,
I speak in this one.
I'd just like to thank my supporters. And here today are the ladies from the Zonta Club of Whakatane. Thank you very much for coming along. And I also like to thank everybody who voted for me. It is, as a newbie, an overwhelming support to receive the votes to put you in that position. But it also means you have the obligation to do the very best you can to support the community. And thank you also for newly elected member, Councillor Carolyn Hamill, for encouraging me to stand to this position. And I'm glad to have you on our board as well. Thank you, everybody.
And finally, I'll invite appointed Councillor Carolyn Hamill to make a mention.
I, Carolyn Hamill, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Whakatane o Hopi Community Board community the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Whakatane o Hopi Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. Good afternoon to everybody. It's a privilege to be back on the Whakatane o Hopi Community Board, this time as a councillor. I feel very strongly about community boards, that they're a really useful tool for localism, having local voice, and they are a valuable asset to our community. So I'm really proud of the bunch that we've got this term, and I'm looking forward to a great 3 years.
That brings us to the end of the swearing in. I'd just like to say that it's a big responsibility to stand for public office. and it's sometimes can be a thankless task. And I want to acknowledge all the people who've put themselves forward. What a great bunch of people. I think it's going to be a fantastic 3 years. I'm really looking forward to working with our community boards. So finally, just a big round of applause to all those people who've been.
Ngā mihi karamātua. Phone's on? Yeah. Ngā mihi karamātua. Right, powering up all our devices, and we're moving back into the reports. First of all, I'm just going to double back to the item 4, conflicts of interest. Do any of the community board members have a conflict of interest with any of the items in today's agenda? No. We'll move on to the next council report, which is legislative advice to incoming community board members. Item 5.3 on pages 18 to 30 of the agenda. The purpose of the report is to provide community board members with an overview of certain legal provisions and obligations, covers a number of pieces of legislation relevant to the mahi of community board members. Please note that the report does not outline all of the legislation that elected members need to be aware of, but specifically deals with the legislation that members must be aware of to carry out their role. Are there any questions of clarification on the report? If there are no questions of clarification, I'll just call for a mover and a seconder for the report to be received. A mover, Eddie, and a seconder, Sue or Linda. Thank you very much. The report has been received. Is there any debate on the report? If there is no debate, I'll put the motion that the report, legislative advice to incoming community board members 2025 to 2028 report be received. All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Carried. Okay, that's fine. We'll just record that you're abstaining from voting on that. Okay. And we'll just deal with that other matter after the meeting. Item 5.4, a resolution to thank those retiring members. This is on page 31 of the agenda. Are there any questions for clarification on the report? If there are no questions, I'll just call for a mover and seconder for the report to be received. A mover, please. Christopher. And seconder, Sasha. Thank you. Is there any debate or comment on the report? I have some comments, but I'll probably save those to the end. Well, my comments are, a big thank you for the mahi of the retiring members. It is a lot of work and a big commitment. It often takes a lot more time on a community board than people appreciate, and certainly more time than the remuneration recognises. And to me, anybody who participates on a community board is going above and beyond what is required of them. So just a special thank you to all of those people. I'm not going to read them all out. There are 15 and a couple of them have been elected to council, which I think also shows, particularly here in the Whakatane district, the role of community boards, or the broader role of community boards in terms of providing a platform for people to also stand for council at some point. So, huge congratulations. And with that, I'll put the motion that the following retiring community board elected members report from the 2022-2025 triennium the report be received and the retiring members be thanked. All those in favour say aye, and against say no. Thank you. We'll move on to the next agenda item. This is the fun part. The next committee report, the next community board report is the election of positions and to set the first meeting date for the community boards. So we'll now move into the election process of the chairpersons and deputy chairpersons of the community boards and setting the date for the first meetings. I'll open the floor shortly for questions and then ask for a mover and seconder to start the process. But I just want to clarify how this part of the meeting is going to proceed, particularly for those people in the gallery. We're going to move recommendations, or I'm going to ask to move recommendations 1 or 2, and that is that the report be received and that also we're selecting a voting system. So that enables then the community boards to use that voting system. We'll then take a break to allow each board to vote their chairs and deputies. So during the break, those people from Murupara will follow Charisse, hand up. Wherever Charisse is, down the back there. Rangataiki members will follow Alex to my left, and Whakatane Ohopi will follow Susan, who's down the back as well. So those are the people you want to gravitate towards when we pause this part of the meeting. So I'm just going to now move into questions for clarification on the report from members. In particular, has anyone got any questions on System B? It is outlined how it works in the report, but if there are any questions, no, we'll move on. I'm going to call for a mover and a seconder. A mover to receive the report, Linda, and a seconder. Thank you very much, Jesse. Councillor King. Thank you very much, Jesse. The report is received. Is there any debate on the report? Can debate the whole report. If not, I'm going. Would the author of the report like to do that? I can do it.
For the purpose of the report.
Yeah. Oh, it's me. I've got.
Through you, Chief Executive. So the purpose of the report is to allow the boards respectively to appoint a chairperson, at discretion also the opportunity to appoint a deputy chairperson, and then set the date and the time of the first meeting for the new year.
It's on page 32 of the agendas. I suspect the agendas are online as well. So if there's no further debate, I'll put the motion that the first 2 recommendations be received, and then we'll come back after the break and do the following recommendations. So I'll put the motion that the election of positions and setting of the first meeting date report be received, and that the board selects System B to determine the election process for these positions. All those in favour say aye, and against say no. Those 2 recommendations are carried. We will now take a break, separate into the respective community boards for the election process. And I'm just advising for those people watching the delayed broadcast on YouTube that there will be an intermission, but we'll be reconvening after the intermission to go through the chairs and deputy chairs and conclude the balance of the meeting. We will now pause.